targeted. And, that's officially, that's a credit to them, basically. The fact that the supports are the first bans. So you guys are that good on these champions that we have to focus ban them outside of going for the mid laners.
And of course, they're game-changing champions as well.
Yes.
They're not simply sustaining, helpy champions. They're absolutely imperative, and they can make or break team fights. We do see from Gambit, though, they've banned out exactly the same 3 champions that they did in the previous game. Slightly different order, but it's the same champs removed.
Very clear that the fact that they don't want Twisted Fate, they don't want to be Pek'd, that's for sure. Nasa's also being taken away there, and they don't want to let that dog through. So Shen also banned. Is it going to be Zac? Are they going to allow Zed through with
Zac? Zac is the one that's banned out. So Kayle is still there. Elise. Now let's see if they want to lock in Zed. We know Pekka and Soaz can both play them. We've seen the likes of a Zed and a Kassadin combo before. We didn't see in the previous game. I don't think it really would have fitted anyway. And it's a number of champions that are very hotly contested.
Well, we do see the fact that Garian instant locked straight Elise. Kind of didn't work out for him in the lane phase. Rumble did counter him pretty well, but he came back towards the end there. And we do see Cyanide once again on Java the 4th. He's happy with that jungle champion. Of course, this time he's not going to be up against Zac, but that does leave many, many champions open. Varus, of course, was first selected as well by Fnatic in the last game. Let's see whether they're going to go with that one. So as discussing this with his team right now.
And there's something else that we've seen from Pekka in recent weeks that he's played very well was Ahri. It's a champion that not really going to match up against Zed relatively well, but can do well against other types of champions, and he plays her very, very aggressive, very assassin heavy, builds the DFG, the death cap, things like that. With the Zed being locked in, we're not 100% sure if that's going to be for Soaz or for Pekka. They have the ability to swap it around.
Lord.
And we forgot Kha'Zix was not banned.
Yep, that one had to sneak through. And it is Alex Ich, the pentakill man on Kha'Zix. So see whether he can have a repeat performance like he did against Evil Geniuses, I believe it was or is it SK? It was EG, wasn't it?
It was Evil Geniuses.
It was EG, yeah.
Jumping him on that bottom lane in a turret. And that was an insta-lock. There wasn't even a moment's hesitation there from Alex. He is the look of focus right now. Really, really looking to get into this matchup. If it is going to be the likes of Kha'Zix versus Zed in the mid lane, those early levels are going to be so crucial and so important, because whoever gets that additional damage down first, he's going to win out the lane.
Of course, Genja getting on towards that misfortune. We do see a potential Caitlyn coming out. Caitlyn used to be a favourite for a long time and just kind of fell away, really. Nobody really wanted to take her anymore. Yellowstar, not quite sure, though. Switching a Vayne, of course, a champion that double if runs so heavily in CLG North America. Well, I don't really need to say North America anymore because there's no CLG EU anymore. Yep. It is going to be Varus, though, once again for him, and it's going to be Lulu as the support for N-Rated.
So the swap out from Vayne over to somebody like Varus, who's a little bit safer than a Vayne, is because there's an Elise and a Kha'Zix in there.
Yeah.
And they are both just going to jump on you. An Insect and a Spider are just going to nom down that Demon Hunter. So they decided to swap it out for Varus, going to go for that traditional lane. You've got the now Save Me in the form of Wild Growth from Lulu. So that's another comfort pickup. We've seen N-Rated learning Lulu a lot in the past, and it'll work well with anybody. You can use it defensively or aggressively. Throw it on your Zed, throw it on your Jarvan. You have multiple knockups in the slow aura as well once it's been cast.
So, final pick, and it will be... Where will it be? Will it be the jungler? It will be a Mumu. Wow, we're going to have Curse of the Sad Bullet time right here with a little bit of a crescendo mixed in.
Been a little while since we've seen a Curse of the Sad Bullet time, and I've always had mixed feelings about Gambit and Curse of the Sad Bullet time, because Diamond Prox is an aggressive jungler. He likes to go in, he likes to play gank-heavy type of playstyles, and yes, you can do that with a Mumu, but he's not quite that type of jungler. He's a little bit more utility-heavy. You've got, again, the sort of press-R composition coming out of Gambit. The one thing that all of this does signal is time for Alex to get the reset. If you get in there, get a crescendo, and just get one kill, immediately he's going to be hop, skipping, and jumping across, trying to set himself up for another pentakill. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like an Orianna or a Kayle coming out for Fnatic to try and defend against this, or maybe some form of, interrupt that they can try get down onto Misfortune.
I mean, there's a number of top laners. They could switch it across. We're assuming, of course, that Soaz is going to be on Zed. It may well be Peke that could be on that, and it is going to be Ahri. You said it, and you called it.
So the reason I like Ahri with Peke, it's a mobile champion. It has the ability to get away from somebody who's got the resets, and because it's not going to be Ahri against Zed, that was a matchup he didn't really want to get into. He was going to get burst down. They got Zed, which meant, well, I can pretty much deal with the range of Kha'Zix. He's going to try leap on me, and I'm just going to dash away, and I have 2 more dashes with my ultimate. So that's going to be the thinking behind that one.
So we'll see how it works out between them. So very much an AE comp coming out from Gambit this time around. Sort of a return effectively to something they tried in Intel Extreme Masters Katowice that backfired pretty heavily because they tried it against the Koreans, but of course with Kazakhs as that added flavor, maybe that's going to work out for them. Meanwhile, we do see Fnatic with fairly similar team that they've had before. This is something they've kind of run quite successfully before, and I'm expecting to see Peke and Soaz grouping together and trying to really bully out Darien once again.
Definitely, and they can do the same to Alex as well. Both champions being very, very mobile, both having such great assassination potential and great damage, so we may see them trying to go for those roaming ganks to try to lock people down. One thing about both of these comps, get caught and you're dead. Like, there's no margin for error. You've got a little bit of safety here. You can use the Curse of the Sad Mummy defensively. You can use Crescendo defensively. So can you with Wild Growth. But with the amount of damage and coordinated control from these teams, if you are out of position by a millimeter, you will get caught and you will go down very, very quickly.
So Fnatic up against it right now. They are coming into this one. Will it go 2-0 or will they be able to pull it square and go 1-1? Soaz there, MVP of yesterday against Evil Geniuses, played fantastic. Can he make a return visit to those performances, or can they shut down Diamond Prox? He's been the man. They've tried to shut down Darien. Didn't really work. I mean, they got the kills on him, but came back with a vengeance. And of course, we saw that blubbery Diamond Prox jumping around. The first time we've seen it in the jungle here in the European LCS, and immediately it pulled a ban.
Yeah, what a performance that was. You know, it took a little while for him to get to that point because his first initial ultimates were not that impressive. Let's not beat around the bush. But once we got past the 20-minute mark and he had his Sunfire Cape completed, had that Haunting Guys built in there, all of a sudden the numbers were just mental. It was dropping their HP bars by a third with each engage. This time around, he doesn't have that same potential. Amumu, unless you build him AP, is not going to be shredding HP bars. And a 5-man Fnatic are roaming towards this middle lane. A very good ward from Alex will just spot them crossing the bush. And we'll see whether or not Fnatic can set something up here.
Well, Darien spots them out, so he knows the entire team are potentially around here. They have got that ward, of course, in the middle, so they're definitely going to see them now. They know that Soaz and Peke are there. Ping's going everywhere, and they're saying, well, Edward, you should be able to go and put a ward up here, and that's exactly what he's done. Covered off, giving them vision towards that blue buff.
Fnatic have no idea that that's happened. They only seen one member of Gambit in that particular exchange, but Gambit with the earlier ward and the earlier positioning meant that they were able to pretty much counterplay that. They didn't misstep. They didn't give away any early kills. For this game, we do see lane shenanigans. Fnatic are deciding to send their duo lane top to face off against Darien and Elise.
Interesting switch around, because Yellowstar did so well in that last lineup in that bottom lane with the help of N-Rated. N-Rated was landing all of those roots, getting those grasping roots down, and they were winning out the lane quite heavily, quite successfully with that 20+ CS advantage that they gained over the time. But it looks like Fnatic, they want to try and bully down Darien, so it's going to be a 2v1, as you mentioned, against Elise this time around. And that means it's, of course, going to be Zed in a 2v1 in that bottom lane. That's going to be a tricky lane.
It's going to be a very difficult lane, but both Zed and Elise have the ability to CS from range. Elise is going to have that sustain in her spider form with the little spiderlings to get some HP back under the turret. And of course, because Zed is energy-based, he's just going to spam those shurikens out all day long. So that is going to play into his favor. What I would, I'm not going to be surprised to see the likes of Cyanide and Peke roaming to this bottom lane a lot. Having Soaz there, plus damage and CC from, an Ari or a Jarvan, will be easy kills into a Sona and a Misfortune. So wait for 6, and then I expect them to roam.
Yeah, we're also going to see Alex having to dodge out from those charms a fair bit, but with the poke comes straight away, and Edward loses a good chunk of his health early on there. Of course, there is a red pot for Soaz here, so he's going to continue to get the poke down, double up this time around from Genja to just force Soaz back and give him something to chew on.
So we'll see how that lane continues. At the moment, he's just sitting all the way back, playing extremely defensively. Edward is using a fair amount of mana and taking a little bit of poke and some damage there, but he's going to be able to heal that back up. We've seen him going out of mana in the previous matchup, and so is again, that's just showing energy-based. He can get all that poke, and it is for free. So we've seen SKgaming picking up first blood. No, it was Evil Genius is actually picking up first blood, I believe, on the bottom lane with like a 2v1 gank, this kind of setup, and Hercubot was playing that particular matchup. This time around, it's Cyanide on Jarvan, and we'll see if he can get in range. Instead, it looks like he's going to back away. So a slow start here.
He's still lingering around there. Soaz is very close by, and He's spending a lot of time Cyanide in this tri-bush to see if he can go in. He's really seeing whether anyone else is going to dive in towards him, and instead he's just going to come in, hold off that lane for a little bit longer. So Fnatic plan to do this one and just keep that lane, that tower alive really, a little bit longer. So the pressure is here. They really want to get Yellowstar and Enrated to take this turret down as quick as possible.
Yeah, that's the truth. And they want to swap those lanes then as well and just try to hold off their objectives. And seeing this early lane pressure, it's something that we see either teams trying to starve their opponents or to get that map control. And Gambit, they're a team of objectives. Kenja does get knocked up, but actually Cyanide comes off worse for wear in that particular trade. In the mid lane though, Diamondprox is coming in, the charm and the bandage.
What a great bandage dodge from long range on Peke there, just dodging out of the charm. But you can see Peke straight away turning down, pouring a lot of damage back on towards Diamondprox.
Flash was burned, so Peke has been, he's blown that summoner spell. He is about to hit level 6 in about a level and a half, so a couple more waves and he'll have that mobility, which will play into his favor. But at first bandage toss out and it hits. So if Diamondprox keeps that up, it's obviously going to mean guaranteed Curse of the Sad Mummies.
Yeah, Red Pot was also used by Alex, so he really wanted to get that kill. Didn't quite work out for him. Meanwhile, Darian is holding off this bottom turret, this top turret, sorry. And he is going to go back, actually. So Diamondprox not going to come and help him out here. So I think they may well be accepting their fate. No, cancels the back and just holds off the wave for a little bit longer. And now Diamond coming up. So clearly conversation between the team is saying, we should be able to hold this one. I think if you just come up and give me a little bit of help, we should clear the waves.
And it's pretty normal as well. They share the experience and the gold. Darian takes so much damage.
Had to force the flash straight out there. And Darian, that means he's not going to be able to escape any potential ganks that come in the form of Cyanide.
So we'll see how long Diamond, if he's going to stay there instead. He does look like he's recalling as well. It's going to give some more time to Yellowstar and Rated to shove this wave down, and that tower's very low. Free damage on Alex.
Charm lands again from Peke there, and you can see the burst that he's able to put down, but Alex is going to turn this one back around, and look how much he can lay down on towards Peke. Shouldn't have enough. Tries to flash away, but the first blood goes to Peke there. Very well played.
Red Pot gave Peke the exact amount of health he needed to survive. He's sitting on 190 right now. That pot is literally what saved his life in that engagement. Very well played by Alex. He did the math. The charm's on Edward.
Edward tries to flash through, tries to go for the kill. Instead, he gets knocked up by Cyanide. He did force Peke to try and get away from that one. And now Darian's pursuing this one. Everybody wants to kill Peke.
Yeah, the Fox Lady's running away and Black Widow bites will kill. Edward roamed all the way from the bottom lane to the mid lane once that fight broke out. The level of communication and understanding is there that with the pressure of Cyanide in the mid lane, Edward actually almost got that one. He tried to get in range for Ignite, and if he'd got it down, it would have killed Peke. Unfortunately, Peke just managed to get out of range. So, first blood, double Dorans, and Peke's going to return to lane.
It's going to work out wonders for him. And Alex Hitcho has still got that burst potential, but them Red Pots doing their job right there in that early game. Soaz clearing out this bottom wave. He's going to have N-Rated and Yellowstar switching around because they did take down that top turret while that was all happening. First turret of the game. And a pink ward goes down on that dragon. So it's going to be actually a very early dragon here for Fnatic.
So Fnatic taking a page out of Gambit's playbook, getting some early vision down and trying to take a very, very early dragon. The earliest we've seen in the LCS split was around 4.5 minutes. This, I believe, is going to be the second quickest dragon in the entirety of the European split. So this isn't too bad at all. 7 minutes, they are going to get it. Vision was good.
Yeah, and you can see that actually the bottom lane, it will now be a 2v2, or will it? Because Yellowstar and N-Rated are looking maybe to move in towards the middle. They've got a 4-man stack around this mid turret here. They could just try and shove through. Yeah,
the fact they got that top turret a little bit earlier as well definitely plays into their favor. It's allowed them to roam. Instead of pushing the duo lane, they've decided to apply pressure in this mid lane. Instead, however, Yellowstar's decided the Wraith camp is a little juicier. Top lane actually, he's going to defend, but Soaz has been exhausted.
Soaz has been caught out here. Is it going to be enough? Edward, of course, just burned that flash a moment ago, so can't continue the chase. Alexic picking up that blue buff. And Yellowstar, well, he returns to farm that top lane out. While that's happening, Darian has made a move down the river.
So Darian shoved that entire wave all the way up to the tower. I was wondering why Yellowstar wasn't applying pressure. It's because he wanted to CS and to defend. And luckily, Darian backed away, which meant there's not going to be all that additional damage on that top lane tower. And Yellowstar's going to be able to just, pick up a couple extra last hits. Right now, Fnatic, they've got a sizable gold lead with that dragon and that tower advantage. And, of course, first blood. Zed rocking the triple longswords.
Soaz, he feels comfortable that he can hold that bottom lane on his own, and it seems to just say, well, Edward, N-Rated, I don't really need the help, and you can go in mid lane and Oh, Peke's probably going, this is my experience. Go away. You're stealing my experience.
Leave me be. I need my levels, man.
Poor old N-rated. He's been shoved back up to that top lane and back off.
What we did see there, as we were, waffling a little bit, that was Ari actually got a lot of free damage onto Amumu. He got a Charm, the Orb of Deception, and then the Foxfire, and it took off half of his hit points. That's with just double Doran's ring. So, he's dealing a lot of damage already. There goes Alex on Peke.
He dumps in and immediately forces the ultimate to come out of Peke. He's low on mana though, so not going to be able to put too many more combos down. And now Blue Buff just what the doctor ordered.
So Blue Buff will just allow Peke to spam, continue doing that. Unfortunately, he picks it up after blowing his ultimate cooldown, which means it's not going to have that reduced CDR. And he's going to return back to lane. Just want to take a quick look. He's maxing his Foxfire first. That's the W on Ari, and then following it up with his Q. So we'll keep tabs on that and see if he continues spending equal points. Right now, the Commando Jarvan the Fourth is in the bottom lane. He does have Cataclysm available, so they may try and go for a gank before Edward gets Crescendo. Well,
it's a good job. Soaz has got more arms than he requires because those 3 long swords. They're going to be pulling the damage down, and they're going to dive for it. Edward, they're going to jump into. Cataclysm comes out. They're going to dive on towards him. They do use the death mark. Is it going to be enough to pop him out? I don't think it will. The Ignite's not going to finish him off, but Alex Inch is going to go down. It's Peke that picks up that kill along with the rest of Fnatic. They're shoving down the mid lane.
So well played there. They use the Chain of Corruption to lock Alex down in the mid lane. They pick up their kill, and we do have a very brief pause right now. Lag is the cause for this one. And I'll see what Soaz is going to be upgrading those longswords to. Obviously, we anticipate it to be a Brutalizer and a Vamp Scepter, but we'll see how he decides to play it. They were a bit aggressive in that bottom lane, using the Cataclysm without getting the knock-up.
Yeah, I did wonder why Soaz didn't go leaping straight in alongside Cyanide, and he just, he could have got in towards that Cataclysm, but he just couldn't do it.
No.
Simply could not do it. And, well, we'll see what that cause was. Of course, they're going to look straight at the computer, check out any settings. Of course, this is the issue with esports. We do use computers. Problems can happen.
I believe they cause more problems than they solve, is the general consensus when it comes to computers.
We would not have this entire sport, this whole, everything that's happening right now, everything that we're doing would not happen without computers.
I'm just hating on IT problems. IT problems. Joe's busy saying, yeah, you take that, Trevor, you take that.
I'm pretty sure those were the words that he just said.
I'm cleaning it up. I'm making it politically correct.
Politically correct Joe Miller right there. So 2-0 right now is Fnatic. They have that advantage. They are shoving down the mid lane. So despite the fact, obviously, Soaz didn't get the kill down the bottom there, they have taken the mid turret, and there's a 3-man push still going. And honestly, they could potentially take down this inner turret.
That's definitely a possibility. There's no one from Gambit that can get there quickly enough. So, and with all the amount of resources that are locked up in this bottom lane for Fnatic, for Gambit rather, it'll take a long time for them to get there. We are just getting that it's lag issues is the problem right now. So Soaz is just resetting his PC and his connection. So we should have this resolved very, very quickly. But Fnatic looking very good in the early game, early stages of the second match.
As it stands though, Gambit, they have got the lead in this series, 1-0, but they are 2-0 down, and it's 2.1k as well gold. So red side working out for Fnatic this time around and trying to react very well to the pretty much one-sided performance towards the end of their game. They started off so strong. Both teams, it was very close for a long period of time. In fact, there was a 2,000 gold advantage, but it was all just that one little bit of chaotic action in the first game where Gambit swung it and they pulled a 4,000 gold swing, quickly putting it 2,000 in their favor. And since then, it's the classic. Once you give Gambit the advantage, you will never get it back.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot afford to make mistakes. And it's a similar situation for Fnatic. If Gambit do make a misstep or a misplay, they will capitalize on it. And this is something that we see it's demonstrated in this really high level of play. One thing I do want to touch on that Fnatic did really well this game was a 6.5-minute dragon. And I believe that, game 1, week 1, all those weeks ago, we've seen the Flash Udyr picking up at about 4.5 minutes. And I don't think we've seen an earlier one between that time frame, between 4.5, 6.5. So, it's a good play from Fnatic, realizing, hey, we're on the red side. We've got a little bit easier access to it, in the river, especially with the lanes, etc. And, let's go for it. Let's push it out.
I do believe we had a 6-minute dragon yesterday. I have to check my thoughts. Or maybe EG Wolves. I think it was EG Wolves. Dragon. It was EG Wolves, I'm pretty sure.
I do recall an 8-minute dragon yesterday. But yeah, the point is we're getting these really early objectives, and it's very, very good. So, it's great to see these teams taking somewhat risky plays, if you can call that. Dragon's pretty strong at that level.
Soaz is just logging in, so he'll be rejoining the game shortly, hopefully. You can see N-rated there. taking his time. Hello, N-Rated, you can hear me. I know you can now. You've just taken your headset off. He's having an admin in there, right in front of the camera.
Yeah. So just chatting to the admins and discussing the problems that's going on. It was, in fact, so I was saying he couldn't move, and Rated explaining that it's disconnection. So, yeah, we are having a reboot at the moment. This is a PC-related problem for those that are watching. This is not a server or an internet issue. So please do not panic. We will have this matter resolved ASAP.
So panic, Mr. Mannering. This is a situation, it's an interesting situation that the teams find themselves in. You can see Gambit, they're not talking. They are sat in silence, as they should be, per the rules. But just looking across towards lolesports.com, remember you can get over and vote on there right now, and it is pretty much even right now.
I don't think it gets more even than this right now.
No.
50% of the vote in favor of Fnatic to 50% of the vote in favor of Gambit. Now, it started off the day 55 to 45. After the loss in game 1, it is now swung even. And with Fnatic in the lead, are people going to change their minds and now vote back for Fnatic?
The Fnatic fans will come back out and go, no, we got to vote. We got to get on there. There's a lot of fans out there, and Gambit are actually one of those teams that have built a lot of fans over the time. You know, back when it was Moscow 5, they were the big bad Russians, and nobody liked to come up against them. And every time we used to see the events, and you get people to cheer, and there'd be barely any cheering for Moscow 5. Now, though, Gambit have grown a lot of fans, and that always comes along with a popular team. Once a team that is winning, they always tend to come back and, you know, get their votes. We're just waiting for the reboot. You can see Soaz, he's not got his headset on at the moment, so he's not ready to go. He's just rebooting that PC, and once he does get to go, it will be at about 2 minutes' time. So, do you think we could get a quick word from the analysis desk, maybe, to see what that, of course, we've got Crepo on the analysis desk, who obviously has been in this situation many times. So let's get a bit of words from wisdom from Joe Miller, Jason Kaplan, and Crepo.
Well, at least wisdom from Crepo, that's for sure. Talk us through the game that we've seen so far. I mean, we're pretty early in, but we've already seen some cool stuff happen at Dragon amongst them.
Yeah, we can talk a lot about what happened earlier. I just want to put out that Fnatic's, like, taking control of this game. They did everything right. So they had a Lulu lane against the Sona MF on blue. Sona MF on blue, you're probably not going to win that. So they play Lulu Varus. So they decide to lane swap. At least is worse at a lane swap than Zed is, in my opinion at least. Like, Wicked might scrutinize me here, but I strongly believe that Zed's probably better. It's shown as well. Zed kept his tower, while Elise needed to help let Diamond Fox join him on the lane to defend the tower. It fell even after. So that means Elise is slowly getting under-leveled, which allowed Soaz to go for the Drake later as well, help him, still on the same level as Elise. So the lane swaps worked out. Fnatic also got 3 camps level 1. Gambit only took 2. That's because Fnatic swapped. They took double golems with top lane. I think jungler soloed Wraiths. The solo laners took the Wolves. They went into red. Perfect start. Good clear for Cyanide as well. They got the tower top. Tower bottom got defended. They went for the Drake then. Then later Gambit did something really good. They froze both lanes on top and bottom to like starve the XP. But you know Fnatic, and they just read that. They read that far enough in front. They backed off, grouped to mid. Pressured Alex, killed him there. I think they're chunking the tower right now.
Yeah, they're taking it down right now.
I think right at the very moment they're chunking it. So Fnatic's in full control. They will have 2 towers up then, and then they'll rotate later back to bottom, and they'll take the last tower. Next Drake comes up, they'll take that one again. Probably contesting the buffs in the jungle. So they're in full control. They're already 2,000 gold up, and Gambit's behind, but they have the AoE comp though, so they can always swing it back.
And you mentioned while we were talking about this that in Season 2, this was like a big thing in terms of the whole change to Season 2 to 3 was the whole freezing lanes and what to do, how do you react to that? And can you kind of tell us about how it was in Season 2 and then what caused that change?
Well, my impression of Season 2 was whenever you froze a lane, people would awkwardly try and get XP and then get chunked. And then perfect example is I played against the Graves once in solo queue. He got frozen. And the freeze was so close to breaking, but he kept buckshotting for 2 creeps every time. He got those 2 creeps, but he put all the other 4 creeps low. So he kept freezing himself over and over and over. In the end, he was 40 CS behind just because people didn't understand, like, how is this lane going to evolve in the next 2 minutes? But I believe that the game just restarted, so I think we're going back to the caster desk.
Yeah, let's get back over and get the game underway.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. So we are back underway, and immediately there has been a kill. Soaz did get taken down. Ken just mercilessly slaughtered him despite getting stunned out there. We do see, though, we can see Diamondprox coming in, lands the bandage toss. Peke lands the charm on him perfectly across the bushes, though, and gets away.
That completely saved his teammate. That charm prevented the curse of the Sad Mummy, which meant there was no more time for damage to go down from Darien. The reason the kill happened in the bottom lane, if we refresh your memory, was from that dive that Soaz and Cyanide did. They threw themselves at their opponents, and in reply, Genja just put that bullet time down and managed to pick up an exit kill as Soaz was running away. So, quadruple long swords. Soaz has turned himself into Goro, and he wants to apply a fatality to somebody with all of those blades.
We'll see whether it is possible. Yellowstar goes in towards that bottom lane. Soaz is now in the top lane as well. And he has gone some distance away in terms of CS. Of course, didn't manage to get that kill early on. The fact that he did just die as well means it's actually quite a big advantage for Darien, but he is clearing out that free wave in the top, and we'll see whether he manages to repel and get all that damage back on there. So Genja, meanwhile, though, down in this bottom lane now, we've seen these AD carry and AD support up against the bottom lane, and there is a number of junglers all heading down there.
So take a look at this. The Sad Mummy has snuck himself into the bush. The pink water's there, so they know that he hasn't been spotted. Enraged has snuck himself in through the river, so Wild Growth is going to be available. And at the moment, don't think Fnatic are aware of his positioning. So Enraged's given his position away with the Glitter Lance. Curse of the Sad Mummy is available, and there's a lot of Fnatic presence in and around this bottom half of the map. Java has decided to fall back to the Wolf Camp, though, so Yellowstar's got to be a little careful under this tower. And I think Gambit, sensing not 100% sure where our opponents are, they decide to back off and get back to safety.
So Nilfgaard Roger's been picked up by Peke. Will he be able to get control and start to dominate? That's the question. We've seen it, of course. Froggen yesterday and Ari was in a pretty dominant force. We'll see whether that is going to return, whether Peke can do just the same. As it stands, Diamondprox yet to use that Curse of the Sad Mummy. He is going to make his move, see if he can sneak in towards that bottom lane. Cyanide has left that area. There is a ward, of course, in the river. Oh, Enrated's ward has been put right next to a pink ward, and Edward's going to clear that one out without any issues. Diamondprox, he's had to back off, though.
So he's decided to back away instead. We'll see if he just carries on farming. At the moment, got a very good CS lead over Cyanide. Approaching 20 on Amumu, who's a fairly slow, a farmer and wave clearer. At the moment, two members of Fnatic, they're roaming around the jungle. They're resetting all of the images on the minimap, and they're just trying to set up a play for this bottom lane. But Diamond is aware of it. He can smell the interest. The Fox Lady is giving off a scent that he can pick up, and Fnatic, they're unsure about what they do. They want to go for it, but they don't know how. Yeah,
Alex is not showing his hand either. He hasn't moved at all, and you can see that the fact there is now a 4-man stack of Fnatic in this bottom lane, they may well go for this dive.
This is 4 versus 3. If the Sad Mummy comes down, they've used bullet time to clear the wave. This is just to make the tower more powerful, and Fnatic wisely back away. Such great presence of mind from Genja. Without a minion wave there, the dive cannot happen.
Very well played, and of course you don't want to go in against the Curse of the Sad Mummy and a Crescendo against on that turret. There was no way they could ever do that one. They are going to go for the Dragon though, and it looks like that's going to be given freely. No, they're choosing to back away from this one. Alexic is backing off to base, and he has gone, so they could have taken that.
So they have no pink ward on the Dragon, which means they're not 100% sure what Gambit can and cannot see. In addition, they had very little vision on the bottom half of the river. So if you had an Amumu and a Sona coming up from that river side of the jungle, they may have been able to jump in there and actually make a play, or make something happen. Also importantly, we just see a ward being messed up there from Enrated. He tries to do a very cheeky ward in the bottom bush of the river, but unfortunately it doesn't land.
Are you talking about the Skara bush?
Yes, there we go.
The Skara ward, I believe.
The Skara ward, if that's the colloquial for it. But
that is the ward position.
He just missed it, unfortunately. It means he's actually not going to get the ideal vision. Right now, though, Fnatic have stacked up. They've decided to go for it at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's going to be the Dragon for Fnatic. That's going to keep that gold advantage ticking in their favour. It's now up to 3.2k. And they are definitely looking strong in this game 2. They need to, of course, try and equal up the series. It is a best of 5, so potentially at least another 2 games to go after this one. Another 1 game potentially if Gambit win it.
If Gambit win, yeah, they can go 3-0. It's a possibility. We would like to see 3 more games. We'd like to see this go to a 5-match series. But I want to touch on the items really quickly. Those 4 longswords that Sowe's picked up. As we said, they did get upgraded to a Brutalizer first. He's still sitting on 2, so slightly different from rushing the likes of a Blade of the Ruined King, which is what we see for the most part, just to get that pop out of his ultimate. And with both of those longswords, he could still go for that Bilgewater Cutlass next. But at the moment, it looks like he's prioritizing a Black Cleaver.
Yeah, no, he's just going to clear out the Wraiths, and he's having to farm his way back into this game. Remember, all of that time that Peke spent going up and down that river, wasn't quite sure whether to go for the kill. Alex did manage to gain his CS back there, has got that Brutalizer on there, so we'll see. Of course, stacking out that Tear of the Goddess, pretty standard. We're not going to see maybe a double Brutalizer. We saw that, of course, in the Korean OGN. Alexic, maybe he could switch towards that one. It was
Faker, if I recall
Faker,
correctly.
I believe, that did that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Faker, and it was something that we've talked about a lot, and unfortunately I didn't see any interviews or discussion about it post-game, but it may have been a mistake because the passives are unique. So that armor penetration and the cooldown reduction, it's unique. You're not going to stack that up. So definitely something I would love to have seen.
He kept it the whole game, though.
He did, because he finished other items. He finished Bloodthirster, he finished Mirror Mana, and I was anticipating, like, is it going to go Black Cleaver and Ghostblade? But unfortunately, it's a question that will remain forever unanswered until somebody manages to talk to him or link us the interview. Right now, 4,000 gold lead for Fnatic, and the pace has slowed down a little.
Well, the wings have been evolved for Alexic as they hit the level 11, so he's going to be jumping or yumping, whichever way you'd like to look at it, around the map and trying to get those resets. As it stands, though, it's the bottom lane where this focus continues, and they do keep poking back and forward. The CS very even between the two. Bloodthirster has been completed by Genja. Meanwhile, it's going to be Blade of the Rune King coming out from Yellow Star. Diamond Prox just launching himself across with those bandage darts in towards the golems. Top lane, we haven't really had a great deal of look at that. 103 CS to 105, very even between those two. Now they're going 1v1. Not exactly sitting on Darien like they did in the first game.
No, not this time, Ryan. And also, it part and parcel of that is because it was the 2v1 lane and that his tower went down very early. So Darian's been very deep on his side of the map, and he hasn't strayed past the safety bounds, which is great for a player like Darian, who we do see stepping over the borders a little bit more often than maybe he should. Right now, though, without that ward bat, or without any vision in the top lane, both Soaz and Darian are playing a little bit unsafe. I think both teams are feeling relatively comfortable just to try and CS, get some gold, and maybe hit the next, item threshold before they pick a fight.
It's those little fights that may be causing the problems. Fnatic do have another 3 members in this mid lane, and they forced Alexic to back away and could take that siege minion and missed out on that 40 gold. And now 4 members of Fnatic, they're pushing on this mid turret. It's already down half the health, and I think they're going to have to use a number of ultis to keep them away from this one, because Soaz is coming in to join the fight.
Yeah, Yellow Star's doing such a good job. They're going to get the tower. That was a 4 versus 2. You can see Genja recalling, and now Darian's there, but it's too late. It took them too long to get there, and at this moment of time, nobody's got those home guard boots yet to just rush in there and help save the tower. So tower number 3 for Fnatic, and very, very good map presence right now.
Force of numbers helps so often. Peke's going to go around. He's going to go straight for Darien here. He's going to come off the side of him. If he can land that charm, it would be vital. He is in spider form, so he couldn't repel away from it. Instead, he's just going to run out of range.
So it's going to be able to take down those little spiderlings. Was definitely considering the engagement, but the rest of his teammates were sort of rolling around towards the jungle just to try and to get some additional creep camps. But one thing I do want to point out about that top half of the jungle is those are all vision wards that are down. So the pink wards are above the river, 3 of them, just to clear out any other vision. I don't believe we've seen an Oracle's Elixir yet, but around the 20-minute mark is about the time that you'll start to see somebody picking them up.
He continues to clear wards in the banana bush. As that goes down, pink ward went down. Let's have a look across the items and then mid laners. Of course, we did talk about the Brutalizer that Alexic had. Mercury Treads as well, along with that Vampiric Scepter now he's picked up. We do see the Rabadon's Death Cap completed for Peke as his first item.
Yeah, so he's just rushed that. It's a lot of damage very early. Still sitting on that cloth armor, so that will eventually become an hourglass. After the Seeker's Arm Guard, etc. Another double GP10 for N-rated Lulu. We've seen this in the previous game, and he was generating a large stream of gold. Maybe a little bit more impactful now that his team has more, global objectives than they did in the previous map. They fell very far behind very quickly once we hit that mid-game in those team fights.
Yellow Star may not quite take this turret down. He has got N-rated with him, just about to come in the tri-bush, and there it is. So 4-0 right now in turrets. That's a huge advantage being built up by Fnatic. 5,000 gold lead.
So I think Gambit are feeling the pressure right now. They realize they're a little bit behind, and it almost feels like they're allowing those towers to go down. They haven't contested it. Yellow Star is overstepping his bounds. He's been stunned.
Oh, straight into a crescendo. Gets the wild growth down on him. N-rated though. Could turn this one back around. They're going to slide on through. We get Edward. You can see the bullet time not quite enough to take him down. The exhaust was just about on point there, and they managed to prevent the damage going down. Yellow Star walking away with nothing.
manages to get away with his life, but Edward unfortunately just not being able to set up that kill for his carry. The barrier and the wild growth saving Yellowstar's life. They steal away the red buff, and the rest of Gambit begin to enclose here on the Fnatic numbers, and they've got a lot of crowd control. Alex has been charmed.
Alex charmed, set straight in. Cataclysm comes in and absolutely melted. Peke picks up that kill. And he's not been able to get in this game. 0-3-0 right now for Alex on Kha'Zix.
The fact that he hasn't been able to snowball a lane is the reason for that. He hasn't had an impact, and Fnatic are not done yet. They do have a little bit of vision around, but they decide to go for Dragon instead. It is just respawned. This is going to be their third Dragon without reply.
And they're happy to just let 3 members take it. Yellowstar still pushing that mid lane. We do see Diamond and possibly Darien maybe going to have a go at him, but down that bottom lane, Peke is continuing to keep the lane shoved.
So he's farming up very, very well, and the pick of Ari into Kha'Zix is, there's a lot of benefits to it that we've already touched on. You know, it has the range, has the ability to charm, has the ability to dash away multiple times. So for Kha'Zix, who needs to jump on you and instantly kill you, as long as you're playing relatively safely, that's not going to happen. You're not going to be low enough for that situation to occur, and that's why Peke is currently 3-0-0. He's probably going to start working on the likes of either a Deathfire Grasp or Zhonya's Hourglass as his next item, and he's pretty much going to be able to blow up, you know, Genja, Darien, or even Alexic's Kha'Zix in any of these team fights.
So the pace slows as Fnatic grind through the gears and start picking up every advantage they can gain, and right now that's a 7,000 gold lead. That is a pretty big chunk at 21 minutes into this game. You can see Soaz, he's starting to head back down south towards that blue buff.
Peke, he's used the ultimate to go in. There's the chain.
Oh my word, Chain of Corruption lands, Genja just gets melted.
So Peke pulled a Froggen from yesterday, a very, very similar play. Using the first dash of the ultimate to just save time, cuts across the wall, and if there were any wards, it would avoid that vision. And then just using the follow-up abilities to land the charm. So very, very good play out of both Yellowstar and Peke. Going to allow them to apply a little bit of damage on this tower, but look at Gambit. There's 3 members trying to set in here, and they know that the chain and the dashes are not available for the 2 Fnatic members.
It was the max range Chain of Corruption really that impressed me the most there. Yellowstar managing to land that. So many times we see those skill shots get whiffed, and when they do land, they look oh so sexy right now. Sexy lol happening right on your screens. And Raiden, he wants to get in that board. He knows there's a ward in there. He desperately wants to get near it with that Oracle, but he's like, nah, I can't risk this one.
That's also the first Oracle of the game that we have seen thus far. We tend to see supports picking it up. You know, around about the 20-minute mark is about the standard, and or if your team is ahead, you want to maintain that lead, taking away vision. Something that Fnatic have invested a lot into is their wards.
Look how many wards across that bait. That
green and
whole
pink
area.
Keep looking at that minimap every few minutes, guys, and look how many pink wards have been put down for Fnatic. At any given time, there's between 2 and 4 on the map. So remember that they do have a 7,000 gold lead, but a couple of thousand of that at least has been invested in vision, and as long as they do not make any mistakes with this, they're going to maintain this gold lead and this, advantage in the next 10 or so minutes.
Well, Diamond Procs on Amumu still yet to impress, if I'm honest. Has obviously got the farm advantage over his compatriot in the jungle, Cyanide, but frankly, that Curse the Sad Mommy, I don't remember when it's actually been used yet.
I do not think he's used a single ultimate after 23 minutes of gameplay, and he's landed multiple bandage tosses. The opportunities have been there, he just simply hasn't committed the ability. It has a very high cooldown, it is rank 2 right now, and at the moment, it's 110 seconds, and if it's down, it's just go time for Fnatic. If they use it, that doesn't sit anything. But Enrated has been caught out.
Enrated has been caught out, but not really the damage that Alex Inch was looking towards there, and Enrated just shrugged it off with his own little shield.
Yeah, you've got to be very honest. With the shield and the fact he's got that Ruby Sightstone and another Ruby Crystal, he's got a fair amount of HP, sitting close to 2,000 for a support before his shield goes on. So, well played. Looks like he's trying to set something, maybe just clear this ward. I don't think they're going to go in from behind. Yellow Pete could put some damage down to Darien, but with that Warden's Mail, it'll take a while to kill him.
It's actually drawn all of Gambit up there, and well, we may be seeing Soaz and Peke doing their usual assassin self and getting in towards Diamond Procs. You can see Soaz, he's heading around the backside, and Diamond, he's got to be careful that he doesn't get picked off here. Soaz is ready and waiting in that jungle.
So we'll see if he can make anything happen. Has the death mark, has the active. They may find an Edward, and he's going to go down with an Oracle. Soaz is going to do nothing and completely break my heart.
completely break your heart, but maybe breaking a couple of Fnatic members' hearts as well. Right though, Yellowstar, he's going to get caught out. The jump comes out this time from Alex. It's the wild growth, turns around, but finally, Alex will pick up a kill. He gets the reset, jumps across, Darian follows, and it's going to be another kill given across. Alex Titch with a double.
That's what he needed, but Fnatic have got the tower in the bottom lane. They managed to force away the jungler and duo lane of Gambit. That looked like a recall bait, which I don't think they're going to fall for. They lose 2 for a tower, but the problem is both of those kills going to Alex. He hasn't had the greatest of games thus far, and that may be just the boost that he needs to get back into this one.
Red buff being delayed so Genja can go and pick it up. So unfortunately this sit and wait is not working out. The sit and waiting on top of a ward as well. So although that ward has just timed out, they do still know they're there. Red buff actually did get picked up by Diamond. They didn't give it to Genja.
There is great vision in the bottom lane, yeah, and I feel that Diamonds took that away just to prevent it being stolen. He didn't want it to go to his enemy. You see all of the vision here from Gambit. They're well aware that their jungle's safe, and both Soaz and Peke were trying to pick up a kill, which is something we've seen them do over and over and over again with Assassins, and they don't have vision in the jungle, so they're actually very overextended here. Peke is being surrounded. The bandage toss!
My word, what a bandage toss there, and Peke having to use that ultimate to try and dash away. Oh, the charm on Edward is fantastic as well. The flash crescendo could have come out. Alex Titch is going to try and jump through. Does manage to get the hit on Peke, but the tower is there to save his life, and Peke, well, that charm very much saved his life.
Yeah, it was a charming play out of Xpeke to save his life, prevent the flash crescendo, and that was the key. Landing that on Edward meant he wasn't going to get stun locked, but he burned his ultimate and he burned his flash. It was just an instant get out of there. Gambit have grouped up as 3 in the mid lane, positioning themselves towards Baron, most likely just to get vision control here. And for a moment I thought they were going to try and pick up a tower, but they're running a little scared. They don't want to pick an engage that's not going to go their way.
This is an 8,000 gold difference right here as well, remember, Gambit, but they may well smell a bit of an advantage gain just here. See whether they can turn it into an advantage of their own. Dragon is up, and Gambit are ready to fight for this one.
So they have the ability to deal a lot of damage very quickly, especially if they land their ultimates together. The Sad Mummy plus Crescendo is a team fight winning combo, but they do need to get multiple members, and maybe the Dragon Pit's the right place to do it. Fnatic have got timing on this one. They don't have the best vision, so at the moment Gambit with the advantage because they're a little bit more informed, and you can see that by the way they're positioning themselves. Diamond is going to look for that bandage toss and then just throw himself in. The rest of Fnatic may be going for an inhib turret. This may be a mistake.
There is. Gambit have gone for the Dragon, and Fnatic are running straight up that mid lane. It does mean they're going to have Gambit coming in behind. There's going to be a couple members backing off. They're going to get on towards this turret. Can they put enough damage down, or will Gambit catch them out? They're going to have the inhibitor turret. It has gone down, and it doesn't mean the inhibitor's going to go down. Will Gambit try and go for this one? Because the Sad Mummy is available, Crescendo is available, but they're not going for it. They don't feel they can win that fight.
Tower number 6, and it's picked up for free there by Fnatic. They have the ability to dive in there and take that inhibitor at any time that Gambit are out of position. Now this is something that they felt, or they didn't maybe think it through. They didn't think that Fnatic were going to be that brave and make that kind of play, but they did, and it's paid off for them. And that Oracle's Elixir is doing such great work for Enraged. The amount of wards that he's cleared out and not dropped is very, very important right now.
So Alex continues his farming spree, and he's definitely working his way back into this game, but we can't look past Peke right now. He's got that Rabadon's Death Cap and Deathfire Grasp 4-0. He has got a lot of burst potential if he can land those charms, which frankly he has been, whether he needs to get a kill or escape.
Yeah, he uses it both aggressively and defensively, and what I do like about the items, take a look at Darian. He's gone for the Haunting guys early in the Sorcerer's Boots, relies on the base numbers of Elise, and then picked up a Frozen Heart and a Sight Stone. So he's got that additional HP and all of the wards. For a moment, we thought Gambit were going to try rush a Baron, but I don't feel like they have enough damage to take that quickly enough and safely enough. So instead, they have decided to back away, and there's Genja being caught out.
Yellowstar thought he's being clever, does launch the Chain of Corruption. Genja's the one that takes the damage, but it's Gambit that are all over them, and now you can see they're going to try and react to this one. Peke dashing up towards them, and it is going to be Diamond Prox that may well get pursued, but remember that middle inhibitor, it is exposed. They could try and go in there, and this is Xpeke.
They're going to interrupt it. Edward's been caught.
Oh, he flashes away, and he does get taken down. Soaz assassinating Edward very well there, and now they're going to slide in. Alex Titch has been caught. The exhaust goes down. Genja's been caught. Soaz is doing work right now. Picks up the double kill and just walks away without being touched. Darian is low as well. Peke is going to dive in for this one. He repels away but drops straight back on towards Peke. and then just dies.
Yeah, manages to land him, and Pekka's little auto-firing missiles just land on him and crush the Spider. This means that Fnatic are getting at the top, inner turret down. Gonna fall back, pick up Baron. This is a 3-for-0 exchange, and it just comes down because of the wards. They had vision in the jungle, which allowed Soaz to jump over the wall, and a questionable recall from Edward. He didn't need to recall there in the middle of the jungle. He could have fallen back a little bit, to a safer position. He's got boots of mobility. He could have done that. So a very good play from Fnatic, using that vision to their advantage. And it's like we said a few minutes ago, as long as they don't make misplays and they maintain that vision advantage, they're going to hold the lead.
Well, there's a couple of thousand gold for pretty much every member, but look at that. N-rated to Edward. 4,000 gold nearly. Actually, it's 3. A lie. But 4 sounds better.
4 does sound better, and it will be 4 soon enough, I imagine. Those double GP10s and 7 towers and 3 dragons and a Baron are obviously all attesting to that.
That's something I'd like to hear from Crepo as well when we get to the analysis desk, because he was doing similar to what Edward does. He doesn't go for that GP10 items, whereas N-rated did yesterday.
And he's doing it now as well. And right now, the fact that he's just completed that Locket of the Iron Solaria means that now he is ahead in terms of items. Doesn't have his boots of mobility just yet, but the longer this game goes, in theory, the better it is. But it's a risky play, I feel. If you give up early kills like Fnatic did in the previous game, you don't have as much ability or as much impact in this team fight. So we'll see how this does come to pass. Black Cleaver was completed for Alex, so that's going to help him be able to kill people more when he does get involved in these fights. But outside of catching Fnatic out, he hasn't had much presence, if any.
Yeah, there's a 4-man Fnatic. They just went in for Captain Fantastic. That is Peke to join them. Just gone back to Bison. His Hourglass. It's going to be a Guardian Angel for Peke.
So that's an interesting pickup. Going to go straight for the survivability or the regen. Going to rely on, of course, coming back to life, having his cooldowns available, and then just using all the mobility of his ultimate back and forth. So it's definitely not what we expected. It differs from his traditional build. And, why not? When you're 5-0-0 and you're farming well and you're complete control of the map, maintain that lead by having a 6 versus 5 team fight.
Indeed, and doesn't give them a bit of an end to a killing spree either, which would be a lot of gold, but it is going to be Fnatic shoving in the mid.
And the other side of that as well, you're no longer a target for Deathmark, so it immediately puts pressure on everyone else. Fnatic, with this very big advantage with Baron on, they group up as 5, they take off half of the inhibitor's hit points. They have vision control, they have Baron, they have team fight. Like, if they decided to pick a fight, they would probably win. And it's just a matter of when do they go in.
Well, we've not once seen a straight-up 5v5 fight yet. So all of that AE damage, obviously Fnatic want to avoid it. That's the main thing. But now, actually, they may be that far behind that it may not work regardless.
It's definitely something that's a possibility. If they do get locked down for long enough by that curse and that crescendo, it can play to their favor. But look at this minion wave on the bottom lane. The moment Alex shows his face, Fnatic can say, thank you very much. We'll take this inhibitor. Use that tail of arrows to zone out the slow. Once inhibitor goes down, one more hit. No, they're actually going to back away. Running a little scared, waiting for some minions. Come on! There we go. Finally, after a prolonged siege, they get it. And right now, that's just going to give them complete map dominance for the next couple of minutes.
Map control is indeed theirs. They're going to back away and now start pushing that bottom wave that is going to come in there. So they didn't want to go toe-to-toe for a fight on an open inhibitor, so I don't expect them to do that on a defended inhibitor turret.
This siege is going to take a prolonged time as well, because look at the top lane for Fnatic. It is pushing very, very heavily. So with that, in mind, Fnatic are going to be happy to just sit here, siege away. Dragon has just respawned, so they may decide to fall back and take that objective, but as long as there's a big wave up top, I imagine the siege will be on. It's either going to be a charm that's going to signal a team fight, or Gambit just becoming restless and diving in.
Yeah, we do see Diamond Prox ready and waiting. Could be the first curse of the sad mommy of the game if he ever lands it. Or if he even uses it. You talked about it in the opening picks and bans. Gambit have got a complete team of R. That's all they had to press, but as yet, Fnatic are not letting them use that key.
Yeah, we'll have to ask them if this composition is really, works for them. It's not something that I feel has worked for them in the past, and every time I see a Mumu being played by Diamond, I'm going to be honest and say I'm almost always disappointed. It's not something that stands out. They have landed the charm onto Edward, and is this the fight?
There's the chain of corruption. Edward does get the crescendo out just as he dies, and Diamond again, still yet to use that ultimate because he couldn't quite find a clean engage there. And now Alex Hitch using those void spikes. Peke goes for it, dives in towards Alex Hitch, straight back out with his ultimate, but they have managed to force Gambit away, and now it's a 4-on-5. Cyanide caught out there. Now we see Curse of the Sad Mummy. Now we see the bullet time. They do take down Cyanide. The repel comes out from Darian, but he's only going to drop back in there. Alex Hitch could drop cleanup duty. Has he got enough? No. Dodges away from Soaz, but he's going to continue pursuing, but you can't get on him. That glitter lance lands once again, and look at this. Fnatic are coming back at them.
Yeah, it's because of the massive wave in the top lane. It's what we said all those minutes ago. As long as those creeps continue pushing, Fnatic will keep the siege on. They've caught out Alex. The Ignite is down, but I don't think it's going to be enough to kill him. Soaz just goes down to the tower.
Goes down to the turret. That gives Alex the reset. Comes in, gets for another one. Can jumps away. Oh, and he just survives as well. Gets the double kill. The repel comes out. Peke's going to get caught. The Guardian Angel, no, he survives. And Rated is going to go down to the Spider. Can they catch on towards Peke? Can they pop that Guardian Angel?
He should be able to get away safely. If repel comes off cooldown, Darian may be able to get in range. He's going to try dash, but cannot. Might jump over to the Dragon actually, as it is available. So overall, it worked out obviously better for Gambit in terms of the team fight, but the Curse of the Sad Mummy went down, and there was no crescendo on top of it. That is what they needed to guarantee a whitewash. Fnatic just stayed way too long. They were all very, very low, and they should have backed away happy with the result.
Yeah, they still didn't actually get the inhibitor turret. They took it pretty low, though. But that is going to be Baron wiped away from everyone. They had already lost it. You can see it's going to be back up in a minute. And that is almost certainly where the next fight will happen. The Dragon, of course, is available. Looks like Cyanide's heading straight for it. He wants to take that away from Gambit. Don't let them have that gold advantage, but no, they don't want to risk it. They're going to turn straight towards Baron.
So with Baron respawning, you can see there's some vision going down from Edward. I expect to see the oracles and some wards coming down from Enrated as well, just to clear it up before they decide to set up. At the moment, though, it's just going to be all about the Dragon. Just make sure that they take any objectives they can, deny it from their opponents. Guardian Angel was picked up by Alex after that last fight, so at least he will be able to come back to life in the next big team fight.
Dragon goes down, and now Enrated. He's only got his Ruby Sidestone, hasn't got too many wards, and you can see actually across the board, Fnatic only have effectively 4 wards to place down on that map. Gambit already with 2 wards of their own in that river, so they're actually more prepared for this Baron that is going to be spawning in around about 15 seconds.
So one of the reasons that you see that at the moment is the fact that they have that inhibitor down and their waves are pushing. So the minions will give them a lot of lane vision, and if you don't see anything in the lanes, you anticipate that Gambit are going to be in their jungle because of the fact that they're too weak to leave the river. It's not safe for them to go past when they've only got one turret taken down. So, we'll see how this pans out. Baron has respawned. Fnatic have placed their wards down, and it's just a matter of time before they decide to force the engagements.
So, as it stands, Fnatic with the advantage. It is a 9,000 gold lead that they have over Gambit. Gambit resilient in their defense of their base. Not out of this one just yet. Alex Hitch had to bide his time, and after having a tragic, really, lane phase, I think it was 0-3-0 in lanes, has managed to pick up a couple of kills, 2 double kills to be precise, and starting to get those resets. Tried to get the cleanup in the last fight, but Fnatic, they're definitely making the move for Baron.
So Oracles is up and Rated is clearing out the vision. Gambit, they are relatively well positioned to pick a fight here if they want to. And again, with Baron's help and locking up CC, they may actually have a very good chance of winning a team fight. Peke, he's charmed up Darian!
Oh, Darian, look at how much hit points goes down. He's going to repel away. It's not going to be enough. He goes down, and straight away, Diamond Prox has to use Curse of the Savannah Mummy. And actually, I did just think Gendra about to use that bullet time, but just backed off again, and that's surely given the Baron pretty much for free across Fnatic. They really worked for it, though. They got the 2 kills, and there's absolutely nothing Gambit can do about it.
Peke solos Darian, catches him out with a charm thanks to superior vision. Soaz solos Diamond Prox, kills him with just a single combo, throws everything at him. Baron has gone down, and now 3 members of Gambit have to somehow fend off 5 members of Fnatic. And you can see Peke's ultimate's going to be available relatively soon. With that blue buff, with the DFG, he's got max CDR, and that's definitely going to be helping him out.
So here they go. Fnatic coming in the mid lane. Inhibitor has respawned, but that's not going to be there much longer. That does go. Remember this bottom turret, it was already very low, and I think Cyanide's probably going to be the man to tank it up. The shield is down, and the turret drops. So, in towards the inhibitor turret. And that inhibitor will go down as well. So, 2 inhibitors taken. Are Fnatic going to be happy with that one? They're going to back away and get the wave clear, I believe. They're not going to go in against 5 members of Gambit just yet.
You can see that Fnatic have been scrimming evil geniuses because they're playing this by the numbers. Every single tower, every single objective, dragging this one out. I can see Crepo just having a little grin over on the analysis desk, but well played by Fnatic. They guarantee themselves control as long as those inhibitors are down. Expect them to spend some of the money that they've just earned from those kills and then stop pushing down the top lane. Also take note, Soaz still hasn't bought tier 2 boots, nor has Cyanide. They haven't needed to. I mean, and only just recently did Enraged even pick up boots at all. So, you know, they've got so much mobility with their champions, and because they've been so far ahead, they've never needed to run away or chase down because it's just been so incredibly one-sided.
There's no easy target right now. You see Soaz, he's got himself a Guardian Angel, so that's the second one being picked up by Fnatic. I wouldn't be surprised to see Yellowstar go for it, but he's got the Banshee's Veil on as well, so he's not looking to get locked down. He's going to avoid that Cocoon or the Crescendo. One or the other, Kez the Sad Mommy, whichever defense you want to choose, it is going to work wonders.
Yeah, at 40 minutes on the clock, you see Alex still farming like a boss. 400 CS on the board, and you know he's keeping himself relevant, but it's just too little at the moment. You know, his damage and his resets, he cannot take down an entire team without some more support, and Gambit completely out of position. Top lane turret just goes down for free.
Didn't get anywhere near that one, and the rest of Gambit, they were caught sleeping. They didn't have any ward coverage, of course, so they weren't expecting them to come through there, and they did get caught out. We do see 2 Guardian Angels as well for Alex Ich and Genja, so maybe going to be a bit of a prolonged fight if they do come in towards it, and it's going to be this inhibitor they're almost certainly going towards. This will take all 3 inhibitors in the game. Peke comes in, he does get cocooned out there. A lot of damage going on towards Peke. Darian comes out. We do see Chain of Corruption also missing, and Gambit are going to try and maybe chase this one down. Immediately, the Twin Shadows comes out, and the speed boost from the Shirelia's Reverie keeps them back away from the fight.
So Fnatic actually making some mistakes there, missing the charm, not managing to jump in there, and Darian, he does get away with his life. If that bandage toss had landed, they may actually have had enough damage. Now we see Darian, he's going in, but he's alone at the moment. The rest of Gambit are slowly following up behind them. There are more ultimates for Gambit than there are for Fnatic right now because the chain is down, as is Xpekes.
Well, we saw a little bit of miscommunication there. Fnatic were half backing away, but they seem to have said, no, we can go in and take this one. We'll see whether they've stretched it a little bit too far. Alex Ich is going to keep those void spikes pooing out, but they didn't quite catch on towards them. There's another cocoon coming out. They can't catch on towards Soaz. Soaz turns around and puts a burst back on Darian.
It's because of the super minions on the Nexus turrets. That's why they're picking this fight. Fnatic are letting the minions do the work for them on the map while they keep the Russians busy. And that's all they're trying to do is run interference. Alex isn't there, and this means Fnatic can put some free damage onto the turret. And look at all these skill shots. Throwing them out almost tentatively. They're not even trying to hit them. Right now, you do see Cyanide was caught out, but they didn't commit to the fight.
No, the Nexus turret goes down as well, and that means work is done. This time we are going to see Diamond. Oh, he put the bandage toss out there, but it didn't quite land. That would have been a 5-man Curse the Sad Mommy if they landed it, and that's what I feel he seems to be waiting to do. He wants to catch every single member, and he's just delayed it so far, only seeing that one ultimate coming out in the whole entire game.
And in Rated there, he actually thought that it was going to land. They've jumped on Darian.
They have gone towards him. There is Curse the Sad Mommy, does catch 4 members. We do see the bullet time layered on top of it, but is it enough? Crescendo comes down, only caught Cyanide there though. Darian does go down. Peke picks up that kill. We see Soaz taking down Diamond Prox. The slide comes in, the hail of arrows lands. Genja's forced to back away. Alex Ich is involved with pops his ultimate just in time. Guardian Angel's already been used by him as well, and it is going to be Fnatic taking game 2. Genja tries to come in, tries to put the damage down, but frankly the work is being done by the super minions. Alex Ich comes in, tries to increase his KDA, but it's not going to happen. Cyanide does finally go down. It's Edward, of course. Who else would pick up the kill? And Fnatic, well, they're not going to back away. They really want to finish the game here, but it does seem that Gambit may well hold on for just a little bit longer.
They have minions there, so the super minions are being distracted by the little blue Gambit minions, and then right now, with all the damage and the DPS that was taken by Fnatic, they simply cannot finish this out completely. The risk of the resets for Kha'Zix is too high, so they do decide to back away. They have all 3 inhibitors down. There's going to be double super minions in each lane, and once the next couple of waves rock up, that's going to be the signal to go and pick another fight. But at the end of the day, the combo wasn't stacked nearly as well as it needed to be. Sad Mummy went down, Bullet Time went on top, but it didn't deal as much damage as they were hoping, and Crescendo only caught 1 person.
And they do have the middle inhibitor respawning. The bottom one will spawn soon if they can hold them off, that is. Baron will be back up in 1 minute 20. Let's see whether Fnatic just simply wait it out, pick up that Baron, play it by the numbers. And honestly, there's absolutely no reason why they should rush this one. We've seen teams only very, very few make this mistake before and actually let the opposition back into it. Remember, those double super minions that were coming in is going to give a lot of gold to Gambit.
Yeah, that's the truth. And it's such a minute possibility, but it is possible for them to come back. But Fnatic would definitely need to make some very big misplays, lose a team fight like 5-0 or something, and allow Gambit to push out and push back. At the moment, though, this is the definition of a slow grind. This is the definition of a game where Fnatic have been in control from the first blood that Peke picked up in mid, and they simply have not allowed Gambit to get back into it. And to be very fair, Gambit have not made plays this game either. They've looked for opportunities, but it's not the same aggressive team fighting Gambit that we've seen from the previous game.
I think this game has proven that Diamondprox is just a mere mortal man, not a god in the jungle. Because we're definitely not being the key point of focus in this game for sure. And it is going to be, of course, the Baron being picked up by Fnatic. They're going to take that for free. There's not a great deal that Gambit can do because they're just desperately fending off the swarm that is coming in towards their base. And we have
that says
chuckle
roll, doesn't it?
From everybody on Fnatic. Happily enjoying this game, I think. It's safe to say 1-1 almost certainly will be the score, which means we could have another couple of games to go in this best of 5.
Yeah, so this is going to be the third Baron of the game picked up for Fnatic. They're going to be able to now wait for these minions to make it to the inhibitors again, and they'll be pushing this one down. So, you know what? Fnatic are very strong. They can win any team fight they need to, but they're waiting for the charm to land. Until a charm lands, they're not overstepping their bounds, and they're really playing this one by the numbers, playing this very safe. And look, let's be honest, it's the playoffs, it's the grand final. There's $25,000, the difference between first and second, and the pride of being the overall winner of this split. So they're not taking more chances than they need to. Grouped up as 5 on this inhib. There is no GA for Alex's Karzic, so keep that in mind. It's 1 GA to the 2 that Fnatic have up and available, and the siege is on.
Diamond with a brilliant spot on as well, so he wants to do some damage with that Curse of the Sad Mommy. We'll see whether he lands it or whether Fnatic can manage to just shove their way through that front door. The charm didn't quite land, so as dives in. Crescendo completely misses, and there's going to be Chain of Corruption. Bullet Time does land it, find his target as well though, and then Alex Ish goes jumping in. He's going to get focused down and drop there. Cataclysm comes in, catches Genja and Edward in towards his grasp, and now the repel. Where's Darien going to lump towards? It's going to be Yellowstar picking up the kill. Darien is trying to get away from this one. Genja's going to go down. Guardian Angel will pop, but it doesn't matter. The Nexus is exposed, and they just simply want to pick up kills and take the game. Fnatic take